The fibrous skeleton and gap junctions are a couple important features of the heart that help it to function correctly. First, let's see what a fibrous skeleton is. This is connective tissue in the heart. Your skeletal muscles are attached to your bones. Your heart doesn't have any bones in it for the muscle tissue of the heart to attach to. So instead it has this connective tissue framework that the muscle cells attach to. So it provides the framework. It also has a couple of other important jobs. It provides electric insulation, between the atria and the ventricles, and it controls or it contributes to the way the ventricles contract. It causes a slight twist in the ventricles as they contract. So we'll look at these in some more detail. When the heart beats, it's a two-part beat. First, the atria contract. So in this picture, you can see these lines here on the side. They represent that it's contracting, and you can see the atria is kind of dented in. That represents the atria contracting. Notice while they're contracting, the ventricle is relaxed. Then step 2, the ventricles contract. So here you can see the ventricles are contracting. And while the ventricles are contracting, the atria are relaxed. So this taking turns is very important. Atria and ventricles take turns contracting. You never want them both to contract at the same time. And when I say both, I mean atria and ventricles. The right and left stay coordinated with each other. So step 1 of a heartbeat is that both the right and left atria contract. And during this time, the ventricles are relaxed. Then step 2, both the right and left ventricles contract. And during this time, the atria are relaxed. The fibrous skeleton provides insulation between atria and ventricles. It's an electric signal that stimulates the contraction. And the fibrous skeleton insulates between the atria and ventricles so that that signal can't spread from atria to ventricles and vice versa. Now, with this electric signal, though, you do want it to spread between right and left sides. Notice step 1, the right and left atria both contract. You want them to be synchronized with each other. The same when it comes to the two ventricles. The right and left ventricles both contract at the same time. So our other feature here is gap junctions. This is a picture of cardiac muscle cells, and you have cells connected to their neighbors. Like right here, this squiggly line, this squiggly line, that's where cells connect to each other. So they connect end to end. And where they connect, the structure that connects them is called an intercalated disc. So cardiac muscle cells attach to their neighbors by intercalated disc. Think of like the button on your pants. That's what holds the two sides of your pants together. So intercalated discs are kind of like a button. They hold the two cells together. In the center of each intercalated disc is a hole. So these are your intercalated discs, and there's a hole in the middle. That is the gap junction. Electric signals, if you remember from chapter 12, are ions. It's sodium and potassium. And in the heart, it's also calcium. So when we're talking about electric signal in the heart, we're talking about sodium, potassium, and calcium flowing, moving in and out. These holes allow those ions to move between cells. So if one cell has an electric signal, so does its neighbor. So all the cells that are connected to each other will experience an electric signal together. So it's because of these gap junctions that the right and left atria contract together. They're in synchrony with each other. In the Olympics, when they have the synchronized swimmers, that's how your heart muscle cells are. And the right and left ventricles contract together. So you have two things going on here. Gap junctions allow the right and left atria to share the signal with each other and contract together, while the fibrous skeleton blocks that signal from spreading down into the ventricles. That way the ventricles stay relaxed while the atria contract. Then we just flip it. The ventricles contract and they use their gap junctions to share the signal with each other, so both the right and left contract together, while the fibrous skeleton blocks the signal from going up into the atria. That way the atria stay relaxed while the ventricles contract. Okay, then back to the other job of the fibrous skeleton. The structure of the fibrous skeleton is kind of a spiral. It's not like your walls where it's 90-degree angles. It has this twisting spiral arrangement. So when the heart contracts and those cells shorten, they follow this spiral arrangement. So the ventricles, especially, the ventricles are the ones that are pumping blood up into the arteries. As the ventricles contract, it's a slight twist to it. You can think of it like wringing out a towel. If you take a towel, a wet towel, and you squeeze it, you'll get some water out. But if you squeeze and twist, you'll get even more water out. So this spiral arrangement causes the ventricles to slightly twist as they contract. This means that they're more efficient at pushing that blood into the arteries. Just like twisting a wet towel makes you more efficient at pushing the water out of it. So this allows them to push more blood into the arteries.